Good evening and welcome to another edition of Hometown Connections with NBC Watertown. I'm your host, Tyler Clemens. Packed show this evening with new Chamber Director Kaylee Millward popping in to talk about their strategic plan and new things going on at the Watertown Chamber of Commerce. We also will talk with Connor Lalone with the Stream Team. Now, the Stream Team is officially finished covering games here for this season. But we look back on some of the best moments of the year, and there are some local teams still competing. Copenhagen girls, Lafargeville girls programs will be competing against each other on Saturday, and the Sackets Harbor boys program will be fighting for a championship on Sunday. We talk about that here on Hometown Connections with NBC Watertown. And we're back here at Hometown Connections with NBC Watertown. And for the first time on Hometown Connections here, we have Kaylee Millward with the Watertown Area Chamber of Commerce, Greater Watertown Area Chamber of Commerce. I usually get that name wrong, so I apologize. But a really exciting position, a lot of changes here for you. Just want to give you a chance to introduce yourself.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. What brought you to the Watertown Chamber? What was the career track, I guess?
So I had a previous position in economic development in Lewis County, and I love the people of the North Country. Supporting businesses is a passion of mine. So when I saw this job posting, it was a natural fit for me. I'm very appreciative to our board, and I'm very excited to serve our membership.
Yes, so as we're talking off camera, you're from the area. You're from Lowville,
Yeah.
and just the local ties kind of brought you back to helping local businesses, it sounds like.
Yes, graduated from Loudville in 2019. Went off to Albany for college, finished my master's. I got my MBA, and moved home, married my husband, and we live in Croghan now.
So originally you were from Naturally Lewis, or you came from Naturally Lewis, right? For anyone who doesn't know, Naturally Lewis is the organization, kind of like the Watertown Chamber does, but just for Lewis County. They help local businesses thrive over there. So how were some of your experiences that you had at Naturally Lewis? How's that going to translate to your position here in Watertown?
Yeah, my background is in business development and support services, membership support. I'm a really big proponent of championing a community where people want to live, work, build business, and play. So here in Jefferson County, I'm using those same passions and leveraging that experience to build a thriving regional economy.
So you're coming into a really good team, right? The momentum that the chamber has in the recent years has really grown. You've had you had a really cool event last week, kind of like a new strategic plan. So really exciting time here for the chamber. It sounds like.
Yes, we are a team of myself and a part-time executive assistant, Clancy Cox, and our board is currently leading a strategic planning initiative. I'm very excited to be coming in at the time where we're just starting and launching that strategic planning process. That will be finished by April, and I'm very excited for a member-informed strategic plan to really decide what the future of the chamber looks like and make sure that we're intentionally growing to fit the needs of the community.
Yeah, a member informed strategic plan. That sounds really exciting, really cool. Could you kind of go into a little bit more depth? I know that you had an event on last Tuesday, and this is partnering with Gymo, another business here in Watertown, architectural engineering business. How did that event go? How was it received? And kind of, can you share any of the results, I guess, from that meeting?
Yeah, so the results are pending. Um, we have brought together over 50 members of the chamber and asked them, what does the chamber look like when it's at its best? What are the opportunities for us to grow? How do we know when we've been successful, and what does it look like when we dream big for the organization? We wrote 100 sticky notes with a bunch of key themes, and our board of directors is going to be meeting this week to kind of sort through all of those key themes, synthesize all of the member input that we received, and at the end, we will know what our strategic priorities are for 2026 to 2028.
So when you think of a strategic plan for a chamber, right? Like, does that mean like new programs you want to start with your chamber? Does that mean like trying to get developers to come into Watertown? What does that mean? I guess for folks that maybe don't know what a chamber does per se.
I think that's part of the process. Right now, we're trying to figure out who we are, who the membership needs us to be, how to evolve to the needs of the business community. So at the end of the strategic planning process, I can give you a better answer on that. But right now, we're figuring it out. And I think that that's very exciting because this is a member informed process. At the event, I shared that this isn't your standard top down strategic planning approach. We don't have a finished plan waiting to be unveiled. We are truly listening to the community to make sure that the chamber, as a membership organization, is serving the members. And that's really exciting. And there's a lot of opportunity for us to continue championing the growth of the community.
So, Chamber is a member organization. Remember that, folks.
Yeah.
So, for people that are out there that feel that they could become a member that aren't yet, how do they get in touch with you, and kind of what's your pitch to make that leap and become a part of the Watertown Chamber?
Yes, we are a membership organization. It's our responsibility to make sure that we are meeting the needs of the business community. So if you are interested in joining the membership, you can reach us online, watertownny.com, or you can give us a call at 315-788-4400. And from there, we can have a conversation about how the membership will best fit one business's needs. But I think that what I really want everyone to know is that we care about the business community, we care about the North Country, and we want to be a resource in supporting your business growth.
So with the chamber, it's not just providing business help and assisting businesses. There's also community events that come directly through the chamber. One will be coming up pretty shortly, the Shapiro Awards dinner, right?
Yeah.
So kind of talk about that process and how chamber membership helps you put those events on that give back to the community or recognize someone who does give back so much to this community.
Yes, the Israel Shapiro Citizenship Award dinner is coming up on March 26th. I'm very excited. It will be my first.
Nice.
This year we have named Catherine Burns Quenser the 72nd award recipient. So the Shapiro Award, we accept nominations on an annual basis. This year is the 72nd annual award. And we have a not chamber staff or board related not selection committee go through our nominees. And this year they named Catherine the 72nd recipient of the award.
Oh, so that's fantastic. So if someone wants to go to the event, right, can they go to the Watertown Chamber website? I imagine
Yes.
there's got to be some RSVPs and some.
Yes.
You got to probably make sure you know who's coming.
Yes, please register online, watertownny.com, and you will find the event in our events tab.
Awesome. So this is a really cool event, and this is one of my favorite because it's a way for the chamber and other Watertown businesses to kind of come together and honor someone who's dedicated so much of their life and their free time, their volunteer time to helping the community. So it's a really cool event, and this just shows that the Watertown Chamber isn't just a business oriented event. It's all or company. It's also an organization that helps the whole community out. And so that's one of my favorite parts about the chamber and all their events that they have here. Kaylee, is there anything that we missed? Anything? Is there anything you want to touch on? Anything that you might want to just give a message to the businesses out there as maybe they haven't met you yet.
Yes, it is wonderful to meet everyone. If this is our first time meeting, right now the chamber is going through a strategic planning process, and once we have defined our path forward, I'm very excited to see how we can bring value to the membership so that you can grow and thrive in this community.
Well, you guys do so much great work, and we're always here. If you ever need to get the message out, or if we can help in any way in any of your initiatives, please feel free to give us a shout. We'll have you back anytime you want.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, more Hometown Connections with NBC Watertown. And we're back here in Hometown Connections with NBC Watertown. Connor Lalone in with the Stream team, and unfortunately, basketball season has come to a conclusion for the Stream team. But on the plus side, there is still some basketball this weekend. If you're a fan of local hoops, a few schools actually from the North Country, couple games, few schools.
Right.
We have Lafarge and Copenhagen. They'll be tipping off at 2:45 at the SRC Arena at the campus of OCC. That'll be on Saturday. Sunday, Sackett's Harbor gets a chance to go play for another section title. Again, 2:45. This time it's on Sunday, though. So three local programs, all three very familiar with success in the local hoops. So we're really pulling for all three of those schools. Really good games as well.
Yeah.
Copenhagen had a nail biter, and then obviously Sackett's Harbor, they had an absolute nail biter. I
Yeah.
mean, that's as close as it gets. You need a last-second shot to put you into a championship game, so that's really cool. Storylines all over the place on all three of those for all three of those programs.
Yeah, and it's schools that, like you said, are familiar, obviously, with these sorts of games. Maybe not necessarily the kids themselves, but certainly the coaches, at least for Copenhagen and Lafargeville. Jake Heston's first year at Sackett's is all kind of new to him. I know he's just trying to soak it all in, but the schools have been there. The players maybe not as much, but so much fun. We're familiar with them. We've seen them all several times this year, a lot of times last year as well, the same teams. It's really, the part that's been fun for me is being able to watch the way the coaches and the players develop over the last couple of years. Lafargeville, we saw them 2 years ago, and a couple times, and you see them and you go, man, this program has a chance to be something pretty special. Last year, obviously, they win the state, and this year they're right back there. You wondered, all right, they lost Emmy Barden, one of the better players, really, and probably all of the state. How will they adjust? Well, Margie stepped in for her older sister, done a tremendous job. That Lafargeville team's a ton of fun to watch. Looking to go pretty far again. And got to go through Copenhagen first, though, and they were a problem for some teams in the Frontier League this year. They kind of one of those programs, too, little younger, little less experience. As the season went along, they stepped into it. A lot of players grew into those roles, and they've improved as a team, not only from last year to this year, but within this year. And they're a fun team to watch out for. It's not something that Lafargeville should take lightly, that Copenhagen team.
Yeah, so let's start with Copenhagen. I know you just kind of went through a little bit of a breakdown
Yeah.
there, but this is a down year
Right.
for the program, right? And they're still competing for,
Yeah,
for
and what
titles.
what does
which
that
is
say about
pretty
the
crazy.
success that Coach Scott's had over the last however long, right? They've had some serious highs, state championships. So, like you said, the last year or two have been maybe a little bit of a rebuild. We've talked about it a couple of different times, just because of how successful they have been. That in the year where, maybe the expectations weren't as high, they're playing for a sectional final. Really, it's crazy to even think about.
You're right.
We watched Copenhagen earlier this year at JCC. They played McGraw and dismantled them, beat by 50. And you're like, okay, so how much of that is really? You can only learn so much from a team in a game where they just are outclassing the opponent. They're just that much better than that team. So it was tough for us to gauge, at least for me to gauge earlier this year when you're watching Copenhagen, how much they really had improved. Now, we didn't get to see them at all the rest of the year between then. That was before Christmas, until they just played the other night and beat Sackett's, who I think pretty much anybody around the league would have figured might be a close one, but Sackett's is going to come away with that win. They beat them 3 times already this year. They've improved. And obviously, Coach Scott knows what she's doing.
Right.
You don't win a state without having some sort of idea, right?
Right.
But they're one of those teams where they don't have a lot of size, but they make up for it just the way they play. They're tenacious. They're all over the court. Everybody knows what they're supposed to do. They're really well drilled. And like I said, Lafargeville's got to be careful.
Yeah, I gotta imagine Coach Britton had a feeling going into that game that this was going to be the toughest yet. It's hard to beat a team 2 times in a row. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row.
It's really
It's
tough.
very hard to
That
beat a
fourth
team
time.
4 times in a row in 1 year.
Yeah.
So it just the stars kind of aligned for Copenhagen to be able to kind of game plan and get ready and potentially to play for a championship. Now Lafargeville on the other side have been able to pretty much steamroll through Class D. Had a little bit of resistance in the opening round against Alexandria. I think the score was like 8-4 or something after the first quarter,
Yeah.
and it was like, were we on upset watch? And then they turned up the heat a little bit and ran away with it. That's kind of what Lafargeville has done all year long is expand big leads and hold on to them.
Yeah.
But all bets are off at OCC, right? It's a completely different facility. You're playing in the arena, which is what they're scheduled for. Sometimes in past years, you don't know if you're going to play in the arena or the Allen gym, which is very
Right.
similar to JCC's gym. But the arena is exactly what it says,
big.
right?
Yeah.
It is loud, it's big, there's a lot of space behind the backboard, so the depth perception is off. So sometimes shooters come out and they just don't have a good feel for the shot. So that could affect, Barton, could affect
Absolutely.
some of their guards for Lafargeville that shoot threes consistently. It could be a matchup where Copenhagen, okay, we've seen this team a few times. We can game plan and we can figure out the best way to attack it. I, of course, think Lafargeville has the advantage,
Yeah.
but it's going to be a good game nonetheless.
Yeah, and Lafargeville, we've seen them. I think that was the third time we had seen them this year. We got to see them 3 or 4 times last year. This year, especially, we've noticed they have a tendency to start a little slow. And they have some players that can score, especially underneath. Chloe Gafford's capable down low. Eliza Smith's been their second best scorer all year. They can score down low. Other than Barton, they don't have a ton of players that like to shoot. And in the game against, I'm completely blanking on them. Sectional semifinal game, we watched it at
Oh, Fabius.
yes,
Pompey.
Fabius
Yep.
Pompey. Thank you. Who are very good, by the way. They're a tremendous team. We watched though Barton really struggled to shoot from beyond the arc, and if she doesn't get going early, that can give a team a chance to hang around. We watched them do that against IHC earlier this year, where they didn't shoot well. IHC hung around, and it took kind of a third, fourth quarter push for Lafargeville to really pull away. Copenhagen's proven to us that they're very capable defensively. They completely held Sackett's Harbor in check on the offensive end. So if Lafargeville doesn't start well, they could find themselves in a really tough spot down the stretch. Now they showed to us that they can handle that fairly well against Fabius Pompey. They got in foul trouble, and they just never really ever looked rattled by it. Everyone was very composed. They handled themselves well. A lot of that comes from experience. But Copenhagen is not going to make it easy for sure.
Sticking with Sackett's Harbor, as we mentioned, as they played Copenhagen on the girls' side. The boys' side,
Yeah.
a tremendous game, right? We don't have as much time to talk about that, unfortunately. But on the boys' side, Sackett's Harbor and De Ruyter went down head-to-head, right down to the final seconds. And needed a clutch shot, and luckily for Sackett's Harbor, it went in off the hands of Spencer Olivia. So
Yeah.
they're moving on to play the championship game, and this Sackett's Harbor team has shown the fight, the tenacity all year long. You're at the start of the year kind of wondering, new coach,
Absolutely,
new regime, is the success gonna carry over? And Coach Hess has been able to carry on that tradition so far.
100%. They're one of those teams too. You look at and you just wondered how well some of those players are going to make the jump. I've been impressed all season long at the growth of a couple of those guys. Oliva was one of them. Good player last year, contributed in a big way, but this year he's just almost unrecognizable from who he was last year. Tremendous player. Nick Coco's another one too. Same thing. You knew the size was there, the athleticism. This year he's really put the basketball together with that, and those two guys have been really formidable. And then everybody else, similar to the way Copenhagen plays. They all tend to know their roles. They all play within those roles. Nobody ever tries to do too much. They move the ball really well, and then the press defense is relentless when they decide to break that out. So they're a really dangerous team. Look for them to try to repeat in the sectional final.
So that's going to be 2:45 on Sunday, and once again, just a reminder, 2:45 on Saturday is the girls Copenhagen and Lafargeville. I know the North Country always shows out. They always the community is always traveling, supporting. It's going to be such a really good atmosphere. Now, if you can make it, go on down there, support those teams. Just a reminder, we would love to be doing that game or those games this weekend. Fortunately, Section 3 has rules. Once you get to a certain point, then different contracts kind of supersede. So fortunately, you cannot go to NBC Watertown to check those games. I actually don't even know who's carrying them. I hope someone
Not
is
sure.
if we can't, right? But
Likely NFHS.
likely NFHS. I believe that's in the past been the
Right.
but I haven't seen them marketed.
No, me neither.
So
We would have been all
we would
over.
love to, but can't do it. Before I say something gets me in trouble. Any
Yeah.
closing remarks on the year?
No, just again, I've said it. I feel like I said it every week, but we had so much fun this year. The numbers for us have been some of our best ever, just in terms of people watching. The support we've gotten from the community has been fantastic. Everybody really responds well to us, not only from the schools. The schools are always so grateful to have us. They're very accommodating, so we appreciate that. But just the response from people within the community, and it's nice that we're at the point where people are starting to expect us now, which is pretty cool considering where we started and how it started. That people are asking, hey, are you going to be able to stream this game? Are you going to be able to stream this game? And I would love to do more, and we can't always, so it's tough having to say, actually, we can't do this one. Just, yeah, thanks for everybody that's supported us all year long, whether you're watching, whether you're a sponsor like Bob Johnson or Church Street or E&V or whoever it is. We wouldn't be able to do it without all of them, and then obviously the whole crew. We're at 8 or 10 of us now, and it really does take that many people to make it happen. So
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, more Hometown Connections.
And that's about all the time that we have here in Hometown Connections with NBC Watertown. Want to thank Kaylee for popping in to talk about all the things going on at the Watertown Chamber of Commerce. As a reminder, Kaylee is the new director of the organization, and they have so much momentum going for them. So many great things that they are doing for Watertown. And we're just so excited to be able to support all of their initiatives. And you should too. If you're a business owner, reach out to Kaylee to discuss membership. And if you're just a citizen of the area, be on the lookout for other community events and make sure you go out and support. They're a really important organization, and they have our full support. Also, thanks to Connor for popping on in and talking about the games that will be going on this weekend. As a reminder, the stream team will not be covering, but you can go down to OCC to support Copenhagen and Lafargeville girls and Sackets Harbor boys this weekend. That'll do it for me here in Hometown Connections with NBC Watertown. More NBC programming, it's coming up next.